Someone who turns your heart around, and next thing you know, you're closing down the town. That you can do is fall in love.
Good evening. Welcome to Worth the Price of Admission. I'm your host, Joe Martin. This show is part of the Chapters Network. What can I say about my guest tonight, the lovely Gracie Cashman? She is one of the busiest, smartest ladies around. She is feisty, and she's here to tell you about the things she does and what's coming on the horizon. Hang on, everybody, because it is worth the price of admission. Welcome, Gracie.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
Hey, rumor has it that you just signed a contract with the Yes Network, a new show coming up. Share.
The rumors are true. The Yes Network is doing a new show called The Story of My Number. And it's a really great concept. Basically, the thought process being that for better or for worse, every athlete is linked to a number, the number that they wear on their back. And then that numbers have this important significance throughout all of sports. You know, we celebrate when a baseball player hits a certain amount of home runs or a certain amount of hits or any of those kinds of things. And that it's an interview show that I have the privilege of hosting. And that's kind of our way in, those numbers and their significance in not only an athlete's professional experience, but in their personal life as well.
And where can someone see this?
Hopefully the Yes Network and on the Yes app. And hopefully, last I heard, it was as soon as possible. So
Rumor has it that it might be, yes, the summer, and here we go.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you a lot of luck, and everything you've done has been successful. We're going to talk about a few more things. Going to get into a little bit of your prior life when you were younger. You were born in Connecticut, you and your brother, and you live in Chicago with your significant other, Brian. How's that going?
It's good. We just moved in together, and you'll have to forgive my kind of plain background right now. The alternative would be chaos because we're in the middle of a move, but it's going well. Yeah.
And you like living in Chicago? Do you miss living on the East Coast?
I do miss living on the East Coast. I think one day we'll find our way back. But right now, both of our lives just kind of are very Chicago centered. We both have all of our friends here in our lives and jobs and whatnot. So, and I love the city of Chicago. It's great.
I hear they have great pizza.
We do. I will say, as you know, an East Coaster, I don't think Chicago pizza can stand up to New York pizza or Connecticut pizza. And I'm sure I'll get some flack for that, but born and raised, the deep dish thing is not my personal favorite.
Okay. So you're an actress as well. When did you decide this is what you wanted to do?
I decided this is what I wanted to do when I was very, very young. My parents took me to see Wicked, and I was way too young to go see Wicked. It was brand spanking new on Broadway. It was like the ticket to have. And so me, my mom, and my dad went, and I was probably like 4 or 5. And I just got terrified. Like there's the dragon on the front of the proscenium, and it was, I was losing it. I was like, absolutely not. I started sobbing. My dad had to take me out of the theater, but it was the hottest ticket in town. So my mom was like, I'm watching this show. So she stayed and watched. But this woman, who I can only describe as my fairy godmother, I guess felt bad that we hadn't seen any of the show. And she asked if we wanted to go backstage. And when we went backstage, it was like, something clicked in my brain that it was all pretend and these were costumes and props and all of that. And I just decided that I wanted to do it forever. And I never thought about it again.
And you also sing, and you are a terrific singer. And I think you've seen a few professional stadium mics singing our national anthem.
I have had my fair share of national anthem performances. It's an honor to sing the national anthem anywhere. But it's incredible to do it at, Yankee Stadium, MetLife Stadium, before a huge sports game. It's like different than anything you could possibly imagine.
So you're walking out there on the field. I mean, you must have goosebumps everywhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think that unless you are, some kind of like super famous pop star, there's no arena that anyone is performing in that has that many people, that style of reverb, or like it's completely different than anything you've ever done before. As an actor, as a singer, there's nothing like doing it, and so it is just crazy. And especially to sing the national anthem, you're not singing your own work or a random song. You're singing the national anthem, which is incredible.
It is incredible, and you do a great job. And so, do you dance as well?
Yes and no. I can dance.
And what's the no?
Dancer. In all of my auditions, callbacks, whatever, I would say actor, singer first.
And so, with all of your things that you've had a wonderful opportunity to do and done very well with, what's the best compliment that anybody's ever given you about all this?
I think the best compliment is someone called, I was on set for a movie, and they said that I was delightful to work with. And that was touching, because I was, not a big role in that movie at all. I had one line, I think. And it was nice to be complimented on being kind and, making friends on set. And that's something that happens in auditions, something that's been taken away now in this kind of post-COVID world where you're doing self-tapes. You can't win the room, which used to be a thing. You would go in, and even if you didn't get the part, you could get everybody on your side and want to see you again for, maybe this wasn't the right part, but the next part could be good, like a nice fit for you, and they would call you back. So just being told that I was easy and pleasant to work with made me feel really good, because we've all worked with people that, we just don't vibe with. So.
And so what does your day consist of these days?
That completely depends on the day. I think, as any kind of working actor could attest, some days, you're doing auditions, some days you're in back-to-back meetings, some days you are just kind of waiting for the next call and waiting to get a revised script, or I think a lot of acting and producing is a lot of hurry up and wait. So some days are really chaotic of trying to get a lot done and get everything out on time. And then other days you're just sitting waiting for people to reply. So really depends on the day, the week, whatever's going on.
Okay. And Gracie, you recently completed filming The Tryout.
Yes.
You're the host of a new reality TV show that's in the can for the next big baseball star. And we have a clip, so I'd like for you to watch that.
Have you ever dreamed of playing professional baseball? Do you think you have what it takes? Well, now's your chance to prove it. We're looking for the next baseball superstar. Register at thetryout.com for your chance to prove you have what it takes.
So what was that like? How exciting.
The Tryout was amazing to film. I mean, I think we kind of caught lightning in a bottle with that, especially with the timing. After COVID, there was so much talent for all sports, but a lot of baseball talent, specifically just given the nature of the timing of the pandemic and the baseball season. A lot of baseball seasons were lost because it all kind of lined up in the spring. So unless you had already commit to either play professional baseball, if you had already been drafted, or if you were already commit to a D1 college or any of those kinds of things, then your baseball career ended because you had 3 seasons where nothing was happening, and there was a recruitment blackout, and the MLB draft got smaller. And so the entire world of baseball changed after the pandemic, which I think goes unnoticed by a lot of people. And so there's a pool of talent that would have made it to the MLB draft and just didn't, by the nature of how much shrinkage there was. So it was really amazing to see these players who had worked their whole lives, and COVID kind of cut their baseball career short. So it was great. And you're giving these people the opportunity to live out their dream, which you never see people fight, like when they're kind of shooting at their last shot for their dream job.
So if I know someone or I have a relative or someone who I think that would like to do this, how does all this begin? How do they reach out to this in order to, I guess, apply? And then what happens when they get there?
So how we did it this past season was we had a website where you could register for a tryout, and then contestants were selected from that and invited to a in-person tryout in New York, which was also filmed. And that was just a lot of kind of standard baseball drills. You know, the pitchers pitched, the hitters hit, everyone did their thing in defensive work. And then we picked, you know, who we thought had the ability to potentially showcase in front of the biggest names in baseball. So we have a lot of guest judges. They trained and learned as well while they were there. It wasn't just a competition of who already is the best. It was who has the raw skill set and the drive and the determination to learn and to get into an MLB kind of headspace and become that player and advance that way. So it was a really interesting experience because you're watching a player's personal development and their professional development all at once.
And how many days does this consist of? How many times do they perform for you? I heard something about 6 episodes. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that it's going to be a 6-episode season. But we were doing I think it was about 2 weeks of drills and everything. So there's, I'm sure, a ton that will not make it into the season that was happening behind the scenes to figure out who is the best of the best.
And at the end of the day, the ones that you pick, what happens next? Say they win, say they're number 2, number 3. What happens to them then? Do they get an opportunity to go somewhere to try out with a big league team? How does that work?
So how I like to think of it is as they got further in the competition, each competition had a guest judge based on whatever the style of competition was that day. So for pitchers, we had, you know, professional pitchers come in and help, and pitching coaches and whatever. So the further you got in the competition, the more the guest judges became kind of serious people that could potentially offer you a contract. So they kind of maybe, instead of being current MLB players, to being MLB scouts or front office members or ownership who have the ability to start to kind of put you on their radar. And then the final episode does consist of MLB front office members, GMs, and ownership who have the potential to offer you a contract. And obviously, we can't guarantee anything. We can't make an MLB team sign you. But we did have a number of people who had were given interest from major league teams.
And we have a wonderful list of judges, Major League ball players. We have Wade Boggs, Ines Cabell, Nestor Cortez, Orestes Estrada, Dwight Gooden, Dom Scala, Ray Negron. Just it goes on and on. And so, but we have one guy that's kind of special to you, your dad.
Yeah.
And your dad has been the longest GM in the history of the Yankees. What was it like having him be a judge out there?
It was interesting. I've obviously never been in a situation where my dad and I were coworkers. So that was a very interesting dynamic. It was obviously very, very fun to have my dad on set and to have someone that I know and love there in my corner. And he got to see what I do. I mean, I grew up getting to see what he does and, you know, watch him thrive. So it was really awesome to have him on set that day.
So that was a very interesting life. So what was it like growing up in the Yankee organization with your dad doing what he was doing and in your formative years?
It's interesting because my dad became the GM the same year that I was born. So I have never had any experience in my life with my dad not being the GM of the Yankees. I think it was a fairly normal upbringing.
It's what you knew.
Yeah. But I do think that every time I meet or I introduce my dad to my friends or, you know, when he met my boyfriend, any of those things, I think that they're surprised at how much of a dad he is. He's, you know, they're all just like, you know, he has this big job and he's so busy and whatever, but he's also just her quirky dad that always picks up the phone when she calls, and he's just, he's a very normal kind of dad who makes time to go to my brother's games. And I talk to him at least once a day, normally like 5 times a day, because I have 45 things that happen that I'm like, I don't know how to work my dishwasher, please help. So we're very, very close. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, so I like to think it wasn't too different than, I guess our relationship was not different than a normal father-daughter relationship.
And what piece of advice would you give, Gracie, someone starting out in your career?
The don't give up is like so cliche and oversaid, but it really is true. I think that there's so many times that you really get your hopes up that something's happening. You get too close to a part. You get too excited about a certain opportunity. And it, in this business, until it's actually done, complete, and going live, there's no guarantee. You can have every contract signed. You can have everything laid out. And it is really soul crushing when something that you're so excited about and you finally feel like maybe somebody is taking the chance on you, when that falls through, it really feels like the end of the world. But you have to know that it's happened to everyone over and over and over and over again. It's not just being told no, it's being told yes and then never mind. And I think that that's something that goes unnoticed. And so you just can't let that's happening all over the place all the time.
And so weaknesses. What are your weaknesses?
Oh, I've got plenty. And we could call my boyfriend in here. I'm sure he'd have a list.
Brian!
Call my dad. I'm sure he'd have some.
With your work, being an actress, struggling, trying to succeed, what frustrates you, or other than the callback, what you were just talking about?
Yeah, I think I'm fairly tightly wound, and so I would say that that's a weakness that I have. I wish I was a bit more laid back.
Good quality.
I'm very blessed to have found a boyfriend that is extremely level-headed, calm. He's great, which balances me out.
It helps you handle the stress.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I would say that just kind of being very, I like to have everything planned, and you know how they say, when you plan, God laughs. So
that's right. That's how you make God laugh. So tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they might have impacted you.
The most influential people in my life, I mean, my parents, I think, are without a doubt the most influential people. I'm really, really close to my mom and my dad, and they've facilitated a really beautiful, beautiful friendship in which their co-parenting of me and my brother is just completely seamless. So I think that watching them just be like 2 incredible parents has really influenced me. And I have a really great friend group here in Chicago as well, that, can never stop picking me up when I'm down. And I think that you have to have people that believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And I definitely found that.
And are you close to your brother?
Oh yeah, Teddy. Teddy is probably one of the funniest people I know. Yeah, we're very close. He's doing a PG year right now, and he's about to go play D1 baseball next year. So we'll see. It runs in the family. Teddy might be playing professional baseball.
Right. And what about your educational background, Gracie? Where have you gone to school? What'd you learn?
I went to St. Luke's in New Canaan for high school, which is where I met my boyfriend. And then I went to Northwestern University in Chicago.
You've been together for a while, huh?
I know. It's a long time.
There you go. And so your favorite thing about Chicago?
I like how accessible Chicago is. I've never found a restaurant that you can't get a reservation to. I mean, believe me, it can be difficult to get the reservations to the restaurants. You got to wake up and do the 30-day in advance kind of thing. But there's no gatekeeping of that kind of stuff. You can, if you want to go and you want to wake up and get that reservation, you absolutely can. You don't have to know people or have a ton of money or any of that. You just can book it the same. So I really love that you can kind of try whatever you want to in the city, and you don't have to kick down doors to do it.
And obviously, growing up in the Yankee organization, did you have any favorite friends, other players' children, people in the organization? Who'd you hang out with?
Haley Swindle and I are quite close, and she's lovely.
Very talented girl.
She's incredibly talented, and there's truly no one in the world whose friendship I value as much. She is like, I couldn't respect anybody more. I think she's just an absolutely kick-ass producer. She's incredibly talented, and she's the most generous person. And she has the biggest heart of anyone ever. So I'm very, very blessed to get to call her a friend.
Well, I think the whole family's pretty wonderful, actually. I'm on their team.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, she got it from somewhere.
For sure, she did. And so I didn't ask you about where did you learn to sing?
I learned to sing probably by doing a lot of trial and error in my room.
In the shower.
And I started taking singing lessons when I was about 12 or 13. I got a professional voice coach, which obviously helps a lot.
Absolutely. And out of all the things that you're talented at, and Gracie, and I know you have a full day, is there something that you like to do more than something else?
I don't think so. I think for me, I really value like the style of art that I'm participating in rather than the medium. So whether that's TV, film, whether it's live performance, singing, acting, whatever, if I like resonate with that material, I think that kind of transcends what style you're performing in.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or what would you like to see yourself doing in 5 years?
In 5 years, I guess I would hope to be a very established performer, potentially in New York in 5 years. I think I'm set in Chicago for now, but maybe in 5 years I'll be in New York. And just like with back-to-back jobs. I think that's every actor's dream.
And that's okay with Brian? He's ready to come back east?
I don't think he's ready to come back east yet. I'm not ready to go back east yet, but I think in 5 years, hopefully his family's I met him in high school, so his family's also back east.
Really?
So I think in 5 years, hopefully we'll both be at a place to go back east, but who knows? I mean, maybe we'll be out west.
And how long have you all been in Chicago?
I moved here after I graduated college in 2021.
Okay. And do you have a favorite place that you like to go to get some entertainment and fun with Brian? And
I'm a big go out to dinner girl. I could sit at dinner. This was something my family did when I was growing up. We would all go out to dinner together, my mom, my dad, and my brother. And Brian always laughs. He's like, your family could sit at dinner for hours. We would do appetizers, entrees, dessert, like the whole thing, and sit there for like 3 hours and just kind of chat, put everyone's phones down.
Do you have a favorite food?
Oh, I'm a pasta girl.
Oh, good. Me too.
I love pasta.
So Gracie, we're so excited about hearing about what's, on the horizon here. You've got your hands into all kinds of things. I admire your tenacity, your go-get-'em attitude. I just think there's so many wonderful things on the horizon. I hear nothing but good things about you. And I hope that you come back on and share with us as you go along your journey, because the journey is the best part.
Thank you. And
how can people contact you?
Follow me on Instagram, Gracie_Cashman. I usually see those DMs, so that's a good way. And I think my email's linked on my Instagram as well. So for any professional.
Great photos.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Gracie, thank you so much for sharing the evening with me. And please come up back soon, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to chat.
Okay. All right. We'll see you later.
Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This has been Worth the Price of Admission. And our show next week is going to be very exciting. We have Jerry Cooney, the boxer. And it'll be a 2-part series, and we'll see you then.
Once in your life, you find her, someone who turns your heart around. Next thing you know, you're